I've been a member since I think about 2008, and I was brought in by a fellow named Dave Rutler. And if anybody, Dave was a great guy. He definitely had a great style and everything like that. But one of the things he did is he cut me short on my introduction. He said, "Okay, John, we're going to have you do a talk about yourself 4 weeks from now." He kind of pulled me aside, like probably 3 weeks from then, and said, "John, give your talk." And I go, "I'm not really ready to, Dave. Dave, I'm not ready to do it." He goes, "Just go ahead and do it." So I felt like I kind of rushed through and didn't get it through. So now's my chance to go ahead and tell you who I am.
You got 2 minutes.
So
You're going to use up 90% of your time.
I know, thank you. So anyways, yes, I'm just going to start with just basics. One thing that impressed me, like when we excuse me a second, when Lloyd gave his talk, I was really impressed with how personal it was. So I'm going to make this a little personal, but I think you all know me, and this is among friends. So again, I'm glad to kind of tell my story. But anyways, first thing I want to start out with is I'm very proud of. I'm born in New Jersey. So even though I've lived most of my life outside of New Jersey, I can claim that I'm a Jerseyan, and that's a big deal to me. I was also born back in the 60s, and I'm a late baby boomer, so that I don't think that fits my characterization, but that's the generation I was born into. But anyways, I was born to very nice, loving parents, but they were Southerners, okay? So my father came from Kentucky, and my mom came from Western Tennessee. And so it's kind of a funny life I kind of grew up with because my father was an electrical engineer and he worked for companies like General Electric and Delco and a bunch of others, but they moved around a lot and they moved around the Northeast. And so I was born in New Jersey, grew up in South Plainfield, I was born in Summit. I always thought the Civil War was going on. Because my mom was going, "Oh, those damn Yankees that, those damn Yankees this," And my father was a history buff, and like he ended up taking us to a lot of Civil War type of monuments. So I just thought, man, this war is still going on. But I came to realize that it was just a little bit of a culture clash, but that's all good. I really had a very blessed life, and I think the real key thing is like loving parents really make a difference. When parents really, love each other, you can kind of get through a lot of difficulties and all the rest. And so that was really the blessing that I had. Kind of on the, I had just one older brother as a sibling, and that was really our family. But the challenge in my life was really, my brother kind of started off things. He was about 6 years older, and I learned a lot about the '60s and the counterculture and all that movement, because I would hang around him and his friends and stuff like that a little bit. But it was kind of a difficult challenge because we later came to find out that, he had mental illness and he also had substance abuse. And so that's
what, John?
He had mental illness
okay.
and substance abuse. And so that was something was a real challenge because, it's one of those things that you learn about that. And you're always struggling to try to do the right thing, and to, you want to love your brother and stuff like that, but it presents challenges, and so so that was an evolving kind of thing of knowledge about that. So the second kind of challenge that came in my life was, my father, when I was maybe 15, 16 or so, was doing a bit of taking contract engineering jobs, so he would be away for a while, so we'd be in Cincinnati, he would go to Pittsburgh or St. Louis or something like that, be there for months on end and stuff like that. And so that's a little bit challenging. And then by age 17, he went off for some routine tests in the hospital, and they ended up being not routine at all, in the sense that he came out of the hospital with a stroke, and he had lost his memory and his speech, and it was really devastating because here's a very intelligent person, very central person in your life, and then they're just kind of gone, just like a flick of a switch. And so that was a little bit of a challenge because there it was, I was kind of thrust to kind of being the head of household. So I had an alcoholic brother, very intelligent, very all the rest, but incapable of really kind of helping. My mom, worked in department stores, was very good at that sort of thing, but you don't earn a lot of money from that. So again, I was kind of thrust into being kind of the head of household. And then I had to, and then I was doing all this when I was in college. And believe me, when you got an alcoholic sibling, it's really kind of challenging, when you have to sort of deal with it. The good news is, you're given all that you need to in life, and you kind of work through things, and you kind of find answers, and you get through life, and hopefully you're doing the best you can at what you do. So to say that was kind of the challenges, but yeah, and I guess one of the other things I really believed in was like really kind of trying to provide for your parents, kind of give them the best, kind of best in the golden years. So I spent, when I kind of went off in my career, I graduated from the University of Louisville eventually in science, and worked in chemistry and R&D, making chemical products, mostly adhesives, seals, and coatings and things like that. But in those years, I helped my mom kind of get established and get secure. And as I say, things went on pretty well. And what I wanted to say next was kind of the things about Rotary that why Rotary was kind of a very inspirational thing to me. The thing again, I really picked up some great values, some of these Southern values, and so I learned a lot of things about respect, giving dignity to folks, and I learned just the meaning of care and compassion. And my mom, if anyone ever knew my mom, that was all, she was all about that. I mean, she had such a wonderful life, up here in New Jersey. Originally, my mom was like, we lived in Cincinnati, she had her own place, and we were about a mile away, and it was great to see the grandkids, and that was all good. But when we moved to New Jersey, we couldn't buy 2 houses. You can't do that here. So we had a big enough house that she could move in, and that was great. And the amazing thing was that she was such an affable person, so easy to get along with. And my wife is equally affable and easy to get along with. And we had the best relationship going on in our house. And really, I think my kids really benefited from that in terms of having like another caregiver in the household. So that was really, a nice thing. But she really had a great time here, and everyone really loved her. They loved her Southern charm. And the thing that was really her hallmark was she really cared about everybody. And she was all about brightening someone's day, and she would think about someone who was having a hard time and try to help them out in some way. And so her big central point was the YMCA and the Active Older Adults program there. That was an amazing program. And she was kind of like the queen there in terms of really kind of help get things going. She loved a good time. She loved to party. You bring up a bottle of wine, she was ready to go. So she was really fun-loving. And really like a party, and she really got people going. It was a funny story. I mean, she would use her Southern charm on Jersey people, and it was just such a funny thing because like you'd see like some mopey person at the checkout stand, right? And like the person's like, don't leave me alone, and she would start talking to them in Southern. Okay, so she'd say, "How you doing today? What's going on in your day or something?" And she'd talk in that Southern accent, right? And so many people would realize like, this person isn't from around here. Well, where was she coming from? But she would love to poke people like that and really kind of get them thinking or just get them out of their shell. So that was one of her hallmarks too. But anyways, a great inspiration for me and my kids. Really added a lot to our family. And again, just passed away the year before last. So, but anyways, so I wanted to just mention just some of the big events in my life. Really, my spouse, meeting Josie in Connecticut. We were in our early 30s. By the time I was in my early 30s, she was still 29 or so. And, we just had shared so much in common, and really, after, so many years of looking around, it's great when you sort of know that you found the right person. So that's been fantastic, really a soulmate. And then the next is a kid. So I've got 3 kids, Ethan, who's now 23, Abby, 21, and Sarah, who just graduated high school, who's 18. All been very, done very well, very successful. But I hope, that they've really picked up our, my wife's values in terms of really wanting to get back. So I say, listen, you guys have been given a lot. We haven't suffered materially at all. We've done great trips, and we've really learned a lot. Having 2 parents as scientists, kind of encourages a lot of enrichment. So they had lots of enrichment, that sort of thing. But the overall goal is like, listen. It's not about materialism. It's really about the world we live and making a positive impact, and giving your God-given talents and abilities, and try to help make our world a little bit better. So I think that they really have got that. So I feel really good about that particular thing that we've done in our lives. Let's see. So right now, I'm working as a consultant in chemical technology, though I have some larger goals in where I'd like to work in. I'm now helping a company in Germany with the manufacturing process, and the thing that's unique about the company is that they are building devices which are going to be the backbone of big data and data, cloud computing. So they're into fiber optic, transceivers and things like that. And so it comes down to the actual ways in which you make the devices and the materials that you use to glue everything together and that sort of thing. So interesting story in connection why I'm working for that company. It goes back to youth exchange and being an exchange student in Germany, but that's what brought me there. So anyways, that's a fun opportunity right now. But I'd love to work more in the field of sustainability, and one of the key focus areas is really kind of trying to get more sustainable things in our transportation, but particularly electrification of transportation is a real big area. I think it's going to be very exciting. So that's where I'm kind of interested in right now. But anyways, right now we're sort of in the next steps of life. We're going to have officially an empty household or empty nest come September. So my youngest, I'm so proud, she's going off to Dartmouth College, and she is so excited about that. She's our best student, most diligent, and thank goodness for all the money we're going to spend, she's going to get the most out of it. Where the other kids, I say, well, I'm not sure, Abby, if you got all those things out of Cornell or not, or Ethan, did you do enough at Cal Poly? I'm not sure. But the thing is I think that Sarah's going to really fully partake in that and really get the most out of that education they have to offer there. So that's really good. Today's a little sad, as I said, sending Abby off back to Cornell. She plays on the soccer team there, so she has to go early and start up with the preseason practices and stuff like that. But the great news for her, last 4 years, she's had great friends and camaraderie with her team. So that's been fun. And they haven't had the most winning season at Cornell, but it's been exciting all the same. So that's good. And as I say, Josie and I are just looking, deciding the next stages in life, like everyone else, figuring out what's coming next. But we're very excited. And I think, again, one of the questions I wanted to answer in this presentation was why do I do Rotary? What brings me to it? I'll give just a quick story. When I was in Cincinnati, I was volunteering, and there was something called the Cincinnati Youth Collaborative. I was helping an inner city kid tutoring. My wife was a mentor for another kid from Appalachia. So in the Second World War, a lot of folks from Eastern Kentucky moved to Cincinnati where the jobs were, but they didn't really leave the kind of backwardness. So they have struggles in a modern city like Cincinnati. So my wife was helping one girl, and I was helping an inner city black kid, no parent, no father, basically. And it's nice to be able to give back in terms of what you know and your education, things like that. But then I realized that I didn't really have a structure for really kind of ways in which I wanted to give back. And I found Rotary was a great way to be able to find ways to give back. So it's much more organized, and it's much more powerful in that, it's just not me anymore. If I can convince a few others that, this is a project we should do or an area we should focus on, I can probably convince a few, and we can actually do some good work. So that's the great thing about Rotary, and that's one of the things that really kind of brings me to it and makes me excited. Last number of years, I've been working in youth exchange. I like working with the kids. I've done volunteer science education. I think that's really compelling. I like to get kids thinking about being technologists and being scientists and engineers. Unfortunately, I think our education system's underserving our economy and our society by underrating those fields. I mean, we say technology, but it's not just using an app on a cell phone. It's like knowing how to program the phone. It's knowing the code. It's knowing how to use scientific principles to innovate and make new business and make new opportunities. So that's the type of thing that we really encourage our kids to do. And so I've given a few years of volunteer time to science education, and that's the reason why I do it. But I like to encourage kids, like I think we all do in Rotary. We want to encourage them to be the best person they can be, the best leaders. And the big thing is to not let people tell you can't do something, because unfortunately in our society, our institutions kind of underrate, us as individuals and our full potential. It's kind of like, if that person succeeds, then I'm going to fail. It doesn't work that way. I mean, we all win if people succeed. So again, that's the reason why working with kids, encouraging them, helping them through the challenging times, all the challenges that they have is a valuable thing that we can do as Rotary, and we do it with our programs, and again, I'm excited about Youth Exchange and what we do with that. Obviously excited with Exchange and our visitors are coming in September, but it's all good stuff. So anyways, it's been a pleasure to share a little bit, and again, I hope to keep the conversation going with you all.